Alyssa Orange here alongside Arkansas women's head coach Mike Neighbors. And Mike, before we get into any specifics, talk about how your team fought, how your team played, how proud you are of your girls from the weekend.
Just busting with pride because we were tired. You know, our kids will all say the right things about how they're not. But you can't come down to this thing and expect on day 3 to not be. It's a really good lesson for us on why you need to get a second round bye, so you don't have to worry about that. So you're finished feeling good on this day. But for that fight that we came back in the third quarter to cut it to 7 and get a great look at a 3, we were just tired. But they're good. They make you pay. There's no holes in that team, and you have to hope they didn't have their A game, and they did have.
You started off fast, able to put up 6 points, and then again you talk about coming out in the third quarter also starting fast, something you weren't able to do those first 2 games.
No, so we made some improvements, and this is a team, you know, they really destroy people in the first quarter. This is one of those teams you think you're playing well and you look up and you're down 12 all of a sudden. It just happens so fast. But, you know, when you're playing a team that's the number 1 overall seed, it's the 3rd time we've had to see them this year. 3 of our 8 losses are to them. I think, unfortunately, they continue to get better too. I know the score wasn't indicative of it, but that's the best we've played against them all year.
What do your girls do? What do you do now that you have about 10 days to wait before selection Monday?
This will be the most fun these kids have had in basketball in a long time. Maybe since these kids were in high school and they won state championships. But we'll have a fun week of competition. We'll have start planning a selection show party. We'll all start guessing on where we're going and predicting. They'll get some new NCAA tournament gear, and Nike will take care of it. It is a really cool time for a kid to know you're already in the NCAA tournament, that you didn't have to come down here and prove something, sit around and sweat and wait. We know we're in it. It's just a matter of where we go, and it'll be a lot of fun, and we'll make sure that it is going to be fun.
The wins over Auburn and Texas A&M, how much does that help your selection and your seeding come the NCAA?
Yeah, well, I'm no expert at it, but I've been following it for a lot of years and doing my own little predictions. I'm going to say that the win over A&M got us off that dreaded 8-9 game, where you have to, if you can win your first game, you would have to play a home number 1 seed on their floor, which it's never happened. A number 8 or number 9 seed have never beaten a 1. So hopefully we've played ourselves off that into that 7 line. That's no walk in the park. You're still going to play probably a champion out of one of the mid-majors in the first round, and then you got to go on the home floor of a 2 seed. So we know that path. It's doable. It'll all come down to what we do this week, how we recover, and how we get prepared.
Personally, for you, you came back to Arkansas to get this program where you wanted it to be, back into the NCAA tournament, and now here you are. How are you feeling?
I just busting with pride. You know, y'all were with us a lot during this. You saw the phone blowing up. There's a lot of people that is responsible and made this possible for us to get it done. I wouldn't have ever put a penny on it in a bet that we could do it in 3 years, but when Jalen Mason and Mal and those guys and Deb decided to stay, and then we got Chelsea and IT and Lex to say yes, and then you get the follow-up groups. Now you're going, hey, wait a second. Maybe this thing can go quicker than we had hoped. But the one thing this group has never really done is got caught up in the results. They focused on their standards and kept raising them. But we're going to celebrate this, and it's got to be that. Otherwise, next year it won't seem as big a deal. They've got to know what the difference between the NCAA and the NIT feels like, and we'll make sure they do.
Thanks, Coach, for your time.
You bet.